Trendsetter, it's never too late. And it's never such a bad time to ever start an end of the year award show, huh? I mean, I guess if you go to February, it'd be a little too late, but mid January, might as well get those end of the year award shows in. And it teaches everybody don't wait till the very last minute because you never know. What a week it's been.
I
Ah,
think we would have made that a New Year's resolution, but unfortunately we didn't.
not to get sick, right? What a way to start 2024. But alas, it is January, and welcome to the HSP podcast. I am Jeff Martin alongside my tag team partner, the Trendsetter, Brian Berger. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew, and we got an award show for you. It's a 2023 end of the year award show presented by HSP, powered by Fast Break Coffee, and sponsored by 24 Media. Trendsetter, you feeling any better? How you doing? And what a way to start 2024.
Listen, if the people only knew what we had to go through in terms of just getting the show ready to go and start doing this, let alone what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Hey, we're burning the English, right? If we're burning the midnight oil pretty accurately in terms of consistently doing it all the time, and it caught up with me, and it caught up with you, obviously.
Oh, it
So
caught up with me, man. It was going around this little bug, and it turned into a full fledged monster, and kind of took us off out of commission for a little bit. But we're back, and we promised you an award show. I think we promised you an award show a long time ago, but we're gonna get that for you guys already in 2024. So much happening. You got Wrestle Kingdom. You got TNA Hard to Kill. TNA is back, alive and well. AEW with Tony still tweeting some things never change. And of course, the Royal Rumble is upon us. We're on the road to WrestleMania. But one last time, Trendsetter, for me and you to look back on the year that was 2023 and what a year it was is probably one of the probably most craziest times to be a wrestling fan. And now heading into 2024, there's so much going on still, so much wrestling even from this past week. But I got to say one thing, though. If I were to go back and look back at 2023, so much wrestling happened. And again, what a year to be a fan.
it is, and you pretty much said it in a nutshell. If the craziest was a word, I would agree with you, because that's what it was. Just unpredictability of kind of having the feeling that you and I have had for so many years in the past, where it all seemed predictable. We kind of thought we knew where things were going, and then you got thrown a curveball. Every once in a while, it'd be a nice surprise, but you knew it was going to happen consistently. This year in 2023, the consistency has been that you can't predict it. Things that were going to go in one way, in one direction, have completely changed and gone into another. And now leading towards the road to WrestleMania now, WrestleMania season with the Royal Rumble fast approaching, we thought we had an idea of what was going to happen and where storylines were going to go. And then you get some returns that you never expected, and that's thrown a huge monkey wrench in a good way on a lot of things looking forward to the beginning of 2024 and WrestleMania in April. So, man, it's great to be a wrestling fan, but it's also cool to know that you can sit back and, for the first time in a long time that I can say this, Jeff, I can actually enjoy not knowing or figuring out what's going to happen and really just enjoying it and see how it plays out on its own. And then from there, reacting to it.
Well, there's always going to be those people that are not going to be happy. They're going to be fickle. They're going to complain. Where does The Rock fit in this year WrestleMania? Where does Cody fit? If anyone should finish their story, it's got to be Cody, right? And a lot of people believe that Cody should still be in that main event, but The Rock draws money. So as we head into WrestleMania, as we head into the Royal Rumble, a lot of talk is going to go down about that, and we'll be here for you guys, and we'll talk about that definitely this week as we head into Raw. Big showdown between Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins for the WWE World Championship. So lots going on, but like I said, we're going to look back today, and again, this is something that we used to do just for fun. We should do it on Instagram. But before we get started, guys, follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. Make sure you give us a shot here on the Give Us a Shot Network on YouTube. And also, guys, again, you can follow us on our regular YouTube, High Spot Podcast. And again, we'll be here for WrestleMania season. Got thrown a little bit of curveball, but we're back. All right, Trendsetter, as we look back now, the first one that we actually had offline, we had a couple one for you guys just to give you a sample of what this looks like. We had a sample for you guys on our IG at High Spot Podcast, and the first one was the Booker of the Year, the 2023 Bookers of the Year. Now, Tony Khan has dominated this one for a long time, and he'll be the first one to tell you. And of course, this year, though, ever since there's been that shift and Triple H got that creative control, him and Shawn Michaels have kind of, turned it around a little bit. And I would say that this year, me and you, considering everything going on, the recent kind of skid by AEW, that this year is really easy to say that the winner of the 2023, actually the winners of the 2023 Bookers of the Year, let's give them co-bookers, and that is Triple H and Shawn Michaels. We thought about this. Tony Khan really had a chokehold on this. But this year, with NXT's ratings going up high, then moving into the CW, and just this new air, this breath of fresh air that Triple H brings, you have to give them the award here, and they are the Bookers of the year.
Yeah, I mean that's an understatement basically. It goes without saying that Tony Khan has had a stranglehold on that because in the early stages of AEW, it was all about fantasy booking in a way. And matches we thought we never see or were ever going to happen, we were able to see. We're able to enjoy as fans. But when you look at the perspective of Tony and what AEW had done and what they had in terms of momentum for this, and now you see Triple H taking over the helm of WWE and looking at the fact that it's no longer the regime of Vince McMahon, and see how Shawn Michaels and Triple H, how their philosophy of wrestling has been incorporated not only in terms of the product what you're watching, but in the locker room too. Seems like talent is really, really happy.
Yeah, no, and like I said, it's something where, like, hey, let's be honest. Vince McMahon was doing his way for the longest time. Maybe some people didn't agree, but hey, he's got a track record of making stars, of making WWE what it is today. But sometimes it just kind of, it's more refreshing with a new person, with a new voice. And now that Vince McMahon has kind of been like sold the company to Endeavor, and that's become TKO, and he's kind of been in the backdrop. I mean, there's just that feeling there's more opportunity within the company, within WWE, and you can see it on SmackDown with the reemergence of factions and the women's division. Just give him credit too. That women's division too. There's so many loaded people on that roster. It's a loaded roster, and Triple H is trying to get the most out of this. And 1, 2, 3 segments involving the women. So all of that has been positive, and any any criticism so far would be kind of nitpicking. And then let's talk about Shawn Michaels, trendsetter. Shawn Michaels, when you look at what he's done with NXT, you kind of get that feeling again when they're going back to these shows now where they're not at the Performance Center, where they're not at the we're not doing shows from Orlando and they're actually traveling on the road. You kind of get that vibe back, a little bit of energy when NXT used to be that, that other brand that was the wrestling show that you got that excitement for, that we would go to and travel, and we go to NXT Brooklyn and we go to the first one in San Jose. So listen, and then all the negative that Tony's had to deal with, most recently with the Chris Jericho accusations or the situation, right? Situation accusations. Nothing's been concrete though, but also too with their injuries. They've had a lot of injuries to their star. Look at Adam Cole. Look at MJF now, who's going to be out. So I totally think that this year it was clear cut that it was going to be a new winner of this category. And when you look back on it, I think that a lot of people would give this award to Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And so I think, it's well deserved. I think it's well deserved. And I think that I'm looking forward to 2024 and see what's ahead for these guys, right? I mean, definitely looking forward to 2024 with what is in the future, especially what's going to happen with WrestleMania.
Yeah, like I said, when you compare the two styles of booking, and then you've seen what Triple H and Shawn Michaels have been able to accomplish here, goes out of question in terms of not only do we get booking that we wanted to see from a match standpoint, from tape to tape, but we were able to get a story behind it, which made us more invested in what was going on. So it was a perfect blend of, let's say, listen, you're not going to please everybody. Obviously, everyone's going to have their fits and not be happy with certain storylines or why people are positioned in a certain way that they shouldn't be positioned. But ultimately, like I said, you can't please everyone. But I think for the most part, they've done a really great job of being, and this is a word I'm going to be using most of the time during the show too, consistent, being consistent with things in the likelihood that it might have been very predictable, but they allowed you to have interest and peak your creative juices of like, wow, where can this go, and feel that way, which Honestly, for me, I haven't felt in a really long time when I've watched the product, whether it be AEW or WWE, kind of started getting pretty stale again. And you've seen what Triple H and Shawn Michaels have done. They've done a great job in 2023 of piquing my and the fans' interest.
All right, so congratulations to Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Definitely well deserved. We go on to again, this was posted on our IG, so follow us again on our Instagram at High Spot Podcast. We had the Hot Mic of the year 2023, and a lot of people deserving of this category. You know, the MJFs are always going to be up there, Adam Cole. But this year, there was somebody that really, I think, kind of stepped it up, and it was to us and the clear cut winner here at the end of the day when you look back at it, and that's LA Knight. He wins that award, and congratulations to him. Take the mic, hot on the mic. Definitely did a great job, and he's in the main event now. He's a main event level superstar who rose from the Max Dupree to almost being fired by Vince to now being in this position because you, the people, the audience, asked for it, and they heard you. And this guy has time in and time out been amazing on the mic, gets over, and now he finds himself in the main event in the Fatal 4-Way at the Royal Rumble against the head of the table, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles. So take a look where he was in the beginning of the year to now. Obviously, LA Knight was really well deserving of this award.
Not only deserving, but I think the understatement goes very underrated in terms of where he started. You know, the momentum he had gained in NXT and what he had lost when he made it to the main roster, and Vince basically having a different vision for him. And then you saw how the regimes changed. Vince was out of the picture now, and was Triple H, who had an idea from Shawn Michaels of what they wanted to do. And isn't it ultimately always the same thing, Jeff? We always say that with characters and the level of success that they have within this industry, it always depends on the fact that you just want them to be themselves and just turn the volume up really high. And you just let him out there and let him be who he wanted to be. And he has this ability of connecting no matter where he's gone, whether it's been TNA, whether he's done his stint in the NWA, and now here in the WWE for NXT, and now the main roster. He just has had an ability through the manner in which he speaks and how he talks to connect with the audience, and they feel that and they feed off of that. And
It was awesome,
unfortunately, yeah,
right?
unfortunately, yeah, I'm just getting emotional there. Unfortunately, you can't teach that. You can't go into a promo room and learn that. You can get better at it. But when it comes to natural charisma and the ability of just kind of going off how you feel and reacting, more importantly, reacting not only to your opponent in the ring and what they're saying to you via promo or going back and forth, but the reaction of the crowd. You know, I've rarely seen anybody better than LA Knight this year do it to the extent of why he's in the position he's in.
Yeah, and again, like you mentioned, NWA, I think that's where you saw the potential, and then when you saw him come to NXT, it was there. Now, maybe age was a factor in why they weren't too convinced. Maybe they thought there was a level. There even reports saying that, hey, this is he's peaked, but we'll see what happens at the Royal Rumble. Definitely a crowd favorite. We'll see if we'll see if they can position him in a way because through no fault of his own, we've had more major stars show up now with the addition to CM Punk. So now that there's like a logjam at the top. So we'll see what happens now with how they book LNA going forward. But he finds himself in the main event at the Royal Rumble in a fatal 4-Ways for the Undisputed Championship. So we'll see what happens with LA Knight. But he is a 2023 2023 Take the Mic Award winner on the HSP End of the Year Award Show. All right, Trendsetter, we move on to an unsung hero, someone that I think obviously re-signed recently with the company, someone who I think who's a Grand Slam champion, someone who I think is really unsung and behind the scenes, really a very key player there. And I think it's Bayley, and she wins that award, the 2023 Unsung Hero Award. And, let's just talk about that because what she's done with Damage Control, I think she's made them the greatest women's faction of all time. Not that many people to choose from, not that many factions, but hey, she's made them great. And she's involved in a storyline that I think I'm interested in. I'm emotionally interested in and see what happens because it looks like at the end of the day, she's going to lose that grasp on Damage Control.
Yeah, that's where it's leading to, I feel. But Bayley in the scenario where she kind of ran to the same category, I would say, similar to Charlotte Flair, who's now dealing with an injury. It's you run the scenario that Charlotte and Bailey have done so much, and then you wonder, okay, well, what's next? Is it another title run? Is it more putting now young talent over? Are they now a gatekeeper, or what? Pick something. But it's more of the scenario where Bailey has done a great job since coming back from injury, and the whole thing was that everyone was always talking about, like, what do you do with Bailey now? Bringing Dakota Kai, bringing in Io Shirai, now Io Sky. It was great in terms of developing that. It didn't all have to be on her, or the focus didn't have to be on her, but through her amazing career, and she's a bona fide WWE Hall of Famer, as Charlotte Flair is as well. She was able to put people over and inter- in, incorporate another side of herself that we probably didn't know as much as she had dealt with when she was injured. She was on a great heel run, got injured in the rivalry that didn't start yet with Bianca Belair, and then now coming back, just again creates more layers of a character and an individual in terms of creating longevity for themselves. Because at that point, Bailey didn't need to be in the title run. It's scenario for her to take a break, but also at the same time still be on camera, and she's done a great job. And like I said, she's been one of the unsung heroes in the female division right now. I think people right now are starting to appreciate Bailey in terms of what she has to offer besides being in the ring as a character and still evolving. So, as you said, it seems like the Happy Family, which was Damage Control, all run by Bailey, she's slowly losing a grip on it. And what's going to happen is what we're looking forward to, leaning towards WrestleMania or into the Royal Rumble. So we'll see what happens there. Definitely a lot of stories, and as the bloodline likes to say, a lot of innings left to dissect that story. So we'll see. But damn, Bailey has done a great job. And hey, it's amazing how we just now are appreciating her in terms of, she's no longer the hugging Bailey, putting hands up in the air. It's amazing how she's developed her character and her personality to this point.
And just before put a ribbon on this one, and basically when you take a look at somebody that's lost a lot of matches, it's really hard for them to be taken seriously. We know that wins and losses matter to a certain extent, but I think there was a stat where like Bailey lost like a whole lot of matches. I'm going to say like 70 matches last year. Something to that extent, I believe was the stat. Don't quote me on it, but something to that number. And think about that, man. When you lose a lot like that, sometimes you lose your credibility. Sometimes there's a really there's a good chance that you're not taken seriously anymore, and it hurts your character. It really hasn't hurt Bailey at all, because underneath it all, she's that underdog that people still root for. And you talk about Becky Lynch, who could have been in this spot. Becky Lynch is very giving this past year, and so has been Bailey. But just because she's getting this faction over, just because it's continuing here, because she's leader of this group, I think that puts her, supersedes her above Becky. But they're both doing a great job, and they're giving back. They're giving back to the women's division. All right, Trendsetter, the female breakout star 2023. Again, these were, if you check our IG on our highlights, you'll see the winners here. You guys will know about this, but we just want to also talk about this. And the award goes to Tiffany Stratton. A lot of females. I know Toni Storm could have done this too. She was definitely up on top. But I think what sold me was because, listen, Toni Storm, yes, her character's been amazing, but I still haven't seen it in the ring yet. When you talk about Tiffany Stratton and you talk about her matchup with Becky Lynch, I think that's what put it over the top. I know she lost recently in a match, NXT on one of their events recently, and so she had to be a farmhand for the day. But whatever, it doesn't matter. She had a masterpiece with Becky Lynch, and it really was an amazing match. And I think that kind of put her over the top this year as a breakout performer. Yes, you could say timeless Toni Storm, but I would give the edge to Tiffany Stratton as as last year's 2023 female breakout star.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, because you know what, the timeless Tony Storm character hadn't really come in to fruition until late 2023. So what Tiffany Stratton, in my opinion, was doing prior to that, and what kind of sold it and put it over the top, was her match with Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. It just showed another side that Tiffany Stratton wasn't just this beautiful blonde piece of eye candy, that she could go in the ring, and that she wanted to become aggressive. She wanted to take her time and, as they say, pay her dues in the ring, and it showed not only was she had the ability of the athleticism that she clearly has, but also maybe that more badass, more tough, gritty person that you don't see from a day to day in terms of the presentation she presents herself. But she can go down that road. She can
Yeah.
go down that route as well. And so to me, that's kind of what won it over for me with Tiffany. And yeah, again, towards the end of the year hasn't really gone her way, but still, that takes nothing away from how from the beginning to mid 2023, literally, she was probably one of the best female performers on the NXT women's roster.
Listen, it's a loaded roster, trendsetter, but I got to ask you, and this is a question that I think you can ask. You can ask about a lot of people in there, specifically a Braun Breaker. What's there left to prove on the NXT roster? Because that's loaded roster too. The females are up and coming, and of course, the Raw and SmackDown rosters are loaded as well. I know there's a few injuries to Charlotte, and there's people coming back too, like a Sonya Deville, a Liv Morgan. So that's a loaded roster as well. Does Tiffany Stratton have anything left to prove in NXT? And also, do you think she's ready for a call up?
First answer, no. I don't think she has anything left to prove unless another title reign possibly in her future for NXT. And yes, I think she's ready. I think she's ready in a scenario where we have had the rumors going on around about Mercedes possibly being re-signed. Then we have Trinity
Most
possibly coming
coming
back
back.
to
Yeah.
WWE. It's still great, but you still need that talent out there that's going to be that break, not just the breakout star that we're mentioning here in the award show, but that new up and coming young blood in the division. I think Tiffany is it'd be a great addition to the women's roster because, in terms of her athleticism, how good she is in the ring. And I know a lot of that depends on the people she's in there with and the performers she's in there with, but she's held her own.
Yeah.
I would love to see her with a Bianca Belair. I'd love to see her, finish finish the story, right? Finish her time with
That'll be
Becky
a lot
Lynch.
easier. Trust me.
I could see her going one on one with Asuka. Challenging Neo Sky or challenging, someone who'll be talking about. I'm pretty sure on during the award show, Rhea Ripley. There's possibilities there of things you could do. So yeah, I definitely think if she's ready for the main roster. If not, probably maybe another title reign. But I think she's done all she can do in NXT.
All right, 2023 male breakout performer of the year. Again, a lot of people in this category, but at the end of the day, I think it's the quality of the matches. Say what you say about AEW's booking and the way they book matches, but this phenomenon of Swerve Strickland, I think when you take a look at it, there's a lot of people that deserve it, but I think it goes to Swerve. And of course the dance, which is not his, but credit Prince Nana. I got to go with Swerve, and we've seen him also on Independence. He's worked his butt off to get to where he is. It's unfortunate it didn't happen in WWE, but sometimes you have to leave. Sometimes you have to leave and make yourself better. And someone who's definitely done that too, and someone who I appreciate doing that, leaving and then making yourself better, is Shane Strickland. So to me, he's my male breakout performer of the year, and I think we both can agree on that one as well. I mean, there's some names there too, but just talk about Swerve there for a second. There you go. There you go. And
That's all I can do.
I was going to do that, but I knew that would upset you because you don't like the way I do it. So I didn't, but the trendsetter did it. So congratulations, you did it, and that's
I
all.
did that in homage to
Yeah,
Swerve
dude, you
Strickland. We've
gotta
had him on the show before to see where he has gone in terms of him figuring out who he is. How can I can compare it to one thing, right? If I had to compare it to something so people can understand. Those who might not know who Swerve Strickland is, if it is, I think you're living under a rock because he's killing it in AEW. There's a moment where we saw Roman Reigns and we said, you know what, just he's got potential there and just I don't know what, just it doesn't fit, doesn't work. Same thing with Swerve. He had all the talent in the world, the athleticism, all that stuff, all the move sets you could want. A lot of people compared him to Ricochet, and that was a fair comparison, right? But then there was a moment he was in AEW, and you saw him in AEW, and then you're like, as Roman Reigns when he came back during after the pandemic, was like, he gets it now.
Yeah,
He's figured out who
yeah,
he is, and that's what Swerve Strickland has done. He's figured out who he is, and not only as a character, as a performer, and just. I mean, granted, he's still growing, he's still evolving as a performer, as a character, but he's more confident than ever before in who he is, and you see that, and the amazing matches that he's had. But not only that, and I can't believe I'm the one saying this too, because I've always been so pent on just the match quality speaks for itself, but now the stories he's telling, especially with Adam Hangman Page, of just where that's gone.
Yeah,
Say
definitely.
what you want about the matches, but it's developed you for that intrigue and that investment, and Swerve has done an amazing job. He's
Yeah.
definitely broken out here in 2023.
Like it or not, that Texas Death Match kind of opened eyes on him. And again, whether you like that match or not, it doesn't matter. It got you talking. So
Yeah.
obviously, some guy that I look forward to what happens in 2024, already teasing a possible challenge to Samoa Joe becoming the new AEW champion. Let's give a little shout out to Samoa Joe. Congratulations on becoming the AEW champion, defeating MJF at World's End too. So Swerve Strickland gets that award, and looking forward to what he does in 2024. All right, Trendsetter, if I would have told you that Dom Mysterio would not win the award for Heel of the Year, I probably would have been shocking, right? A revelation of how could this be? Dominic gets so much heat, he's not allowed to talk. But someone crept in towards the end of the year and kind of just did a little bit better, kind of more front and center than Dom was, because yes, he won the North American title and he got all this major heat. And of course, Rhea Ripley really helped in that way. But someone who didn't need that help, and someone who is probably having the best run ever and is deserving this award, and it goes to Christian Cage. And to me, he's the heel of the year for 2023. The TNT champion, obviously the patriarch, and will definitely go down as probably having his best run ever. And he's 50, so it just shows you how valuable he's been an asset. I remember when he first showed up in AEW, we're like, oh, what the hell? Oh, Christian Cage. But he has been a major player, gone above and beyond our expectations. And Christian Cage, to me, he doesn't sneak by, but to me, he did enough to clear by Dominic Mysterio and become the heel of the year for 2023.
Yeah, I mean, I have to give credit where credit's due, right? With Christian Cage, we kind of thought his addition to AEW was more of a swan song. It was more of him getting one or two more last matches under his belt to end a very illustrious career. But lo and behold, he just shows that he still has a lot more gas in the tank. His early stint in AEW wasn't really what we thought it was going to be. Then becoming more of a mentor towards that fraud Jungle Boy and
Oh God,
Luchasaurus, and now to see where he's come as not just. I mean, we always knew he's a great performer, has great psychology in the ring, but then to have this version of it. Now people could say it's cheap heat. Oh my God, what things he's saying, it's just to get a right. It's working though. It causes people to talk. It gets a reaction. It would be worse if he did it and nobody cared. People care about it. They want it. People want to see him lose. They want to see him get beat up, and that's the best compliment you can get as a heel, as a performer. And Christian, Dom and Christian was right there in terms of you can't take anything away from Dom and the amazing things he's done. But at this stage with all the experience, all the miles he's tracked on in terms of his career, Christian definitely deserves it. He's earned it, and Dom has many, many years ahead of him, hopefully, to get that award, because right now nobody hates. If there's anybody in a close second, and you hate to say first or second, it's Dominic Mysterio, but Christian clearly takes this one.
congratulations to Christian Cage, who continues to do amazing things. And the feud with Adam Copeland, Edge, is still not over. So looking forward to what happens in 2024 for Christian Cage. All right, Trendsetter, faction of the year. There's a lot of factions. You have Damage Control, and maybe you have the Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah, right. But there was one faction.
Ooh.
Exactly. To me, that was above and beyond. Now, whether they lost or they won or they had their ups and downs, they had one person, the glue there, and Mommy, to keep them together. And I would say that this group definitely lays the claim to be the 2023 faction of the year, and that goes to the Judgment Day. So Dom doesn't go empty-handed. He wins an award. The faction of the year is definitely the Judgment Day. And now you add this whole dynamic with R-Truth, which is, to me, it's pretty funny. And R-Truth now being the #1 merch seller for WWE just shows you how valuable he is and how he's adding that other dynamic, little comedic aspect to a serious group in the Judgment Day. I got to hand it to you, though, whether it lasts a little bit longer or, like you said, there's more innings to this game here between this faction. They had a strong year in 2023. They end up being the undisputed, tag team champions. Rhea Ripley is not going to lose her title anywhere anytime soon. And Dom had the North American title. Now you had JD McDonough, R-Truth. It's just a lot of things going on with the Judgment Day. Plus, they always main event on Raw anyways. They have a big title match this coming Monday night. So obviously they're front and center on Monday Night Raw, and I don't think there's any debate. I would say on them winning this award.
Never did I think anybody could outshine the Bloodline, the amazing magic they've put on TV. But when you add R-Truth, similar to Sami Zayn, into the Bloodline, you get another version, another dynamic that you can't help but laugh. It just creates longevity, creates other layers and dimensions, starts throwing in the little, hints that there might be, turmoil in the trenches of the Bloodline, similar to now what we're seeing with the Judgment Day. Could that be happening? It just creates entertainment. R-Truth, I think he's another underrated performer that goes out there. He came back more towards the end of the year. If not, the stuff he's been doing right now has been just magic and gold, in my opinion, in terms of whether you want to consider it gold for comedic relief, just gold in terms of entertainment. Just R-Truth, dude. It's like I never gave the guy the credit I think he deserved and he earned from me. And he definitely has it too. Every single time he's on camera, it is must watch, especially as he's interacting with the Judgment Day, with the Miz, him going, my bad, and just, the little Jimmy thing that a lot of people overlook. It was amazing. All of it's been amazing.
And using social media for positive, just the back and forth between him and Finn and just all that fun stuff there. That's all done in fun too, which is that comedic aspect. I think R-Truth is now I can see why they like him a lot. You know what I mean?
I love the fact that in his character is actually breaking characters of some Judgment Day members, and they can't help it. And that's what we love watching as an audience. It's an authentic, real, live reaction. Sometimes it might go off script and off kilter, but that's what makes it so entertaining.
Had the Bloodline remained, they definitely would have won this award, but they've kind of disbanded a little bit. But we're seeing like a new version now, and I think that I have a little prediction about the Bloodline as we head towards the end, so we want to stick around for that one as well. So congratulations to the Judgment Day. All right, Trendsetter, tag team of the year. Obviously, the tag team division this year, there's been a lot of change, a lot of, I would say, you've obviously had the breakup of one of the best tag teams. You had a tag team go on hiatus in the Bucks. You've had Jay and Jimmy kind of break up, go on different brands. But one team has remained constant this year, and it's got to be FTR. So I want to give them kudos, congratulations. Obviously, they are a very talented team. They bring a lot of eyes to tag team wrestling and AEW. And who says we hate AEW? Look at these guys winning these awards here, AEW guys. So I want to give them the credit. They won a lot of titles in 2023. So Dax and Cash, congratulations, 2023 Tag Team of the Year here on HSP.
Yeah, you know me, man. I love tag team wrestling. I think that's the foundation of how you find stars in this industry. I think it's the foundation of how you carry shows in terms of, yes, you have the headliners, the people that are paying to watch the main event, but then you have that steal show possibly, or they carry the show in terms of creates or it sets the vibe of the show. And to me, that's tag team wrestling. And we look at FTR and you look at, the Usos would have been definitely up there if they hadn't broken up. And they kind of had their run after WrestleMania when they lost the titles to Sami and Kevin Owens. So the tag team division is in all these brands, whether it be TNA, AEW, NWA, Ring of Honor, version of AEW, and now WWE, there's depth in terms of talent there that you can use.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it just hasn't really been showcased. But if there's one positive that people think I'm always bashing AEW, one positive AEW does do, though, I think they really do promote their tag teams out there. And we do see a lot of tag team wrestling. Now, again, maybe not consistently as I want there to be, but still, there is consistency there in terms of they showcase their tag team performers and showcase that division to what I feel, WWE or TNA and so on and so forth should be doing. So give all the credit to FDR. Did an amazing job in terms of, they've been healthy and they've consistently been on TV and they've carried shows to the point where they've made you, continually watch rather than turn away. And to me, that's why I love tag team wrestling. So kudos to FDR. Well deserved as the tag team of the year for 2023.
They've remained, healthy somewhat. I mean, like everyone, they go through injuries and stuff, and there's some questionable booking on their end too. Why not book them even more? But the only other alternative to me was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Yes, they main evented night one WrestleMania, but I just think there's just something a little bit missing there. Like after that, their title run kind of was like, what? And FTR I think just proved to be just had a longer tenure. as just being more of a tag team together. So that's why you get the award. Trendsetter, there's been a lot of moments that happened, so many headlines in 2023, but I definitely think that there's nothing that crazier than we went to WrestleMania in LA and all of a sudden the news broke that WWE was actually sold, and it was sold to Endeavor, who own UFC, and then they merged and they became TKO. And now the fact that Vince McMahon no longer is a influential part of WWE and through creative, that's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy. And to me, yes, there were tons of moments, but nothing tops that one. I mean, that is the unbelievable 100% moment of the year. The biggest moment is Vince McMahon selling the WWE and now forming TKO. And now basically Nick Khan is at the front and center of this thing and just being left alone. And you saw the returns of, a lot of people. You saw them signing people back. Yeah, just how crazy is it to think that Vince McMahon no longer is a full-time part of WWE? That's nuts, man.
Listen, I knew that we never thought in our lifetime we'd see it. We thought Vince would continue doing this job till he's 125 or 150 at least, because that's how passionate he was about it, and that's how much he loved the work in terms of doing it. Now, can't say that I always agreed with all the choices Vince decided to go with, and the biggest frustration for you and I when we first started doing this was that maybe Vince wasn't seeing things the way the audience is seeing things now. Maybe he's lost touch or he's out of tune, and then he would throw you, oh wow, maybe he is listening, and back and forth. Now with under the new regime, it really feels like they're listening to. I mean, they don't have to be dictating what the fans say, but they are listening to what's exciting and what's out there in terms of what people want to see, and maybe evolving things. I know the old adage, if not broke, don't fix it, but never in a million years did I ever think we would see the day where Vince McMahon would no longer be part of WWE in some capacity, let alone not running it.
Yeah.
And so that's been probably one of the biggest surprising moments of 2023, with the fact that when we first heard rumors about it, we thought, you know what, they're just rumors. There's no way Vince would ever yield and step away. And then when he did, in a very anticlimactic way, and typical Vince, right, just puts out a message on social media: "I've retired. Take care, guys. I'm gone." And I can only speak for myself, Jeff. You tell me what you think real quick. For me, it left me a little empty inside, because as much as I disagreed sometimes with the man and what he did and business decisions he made creatively and whatever the case might be, I felt the fans felt a little let down, because they wanted to say thank you. They wanted to say thank you so much, because if it wasn't for this guy, a lot of people who are covering this now wouldn't be covering it. I mean, from the
It,
80s to the 90s to the 2000s, it felt like we were let out in terms of, you just walked out the back door, and dude, we just want to say thanks, and you didn't even give us that opportunity.
well, but here's the thing. He did. I mean, yeah, but he did come back and take it over again. You know what I mean? It's not like it was a short-lived retirement. He came back to oversee the sale of WWE. So
That's what
then
he tried to do.
he did, and then Stephanie McMahon left. So then he took over, and then he saw the sale, and he was back, and he was offering creative advice. Remember the whole thing where like people felt like he was, manipulating creative once again from Stanford or from remotely, but he was still making changes to the script. So he was still involved until now we get to the new year, and now he's not. And obviously, he did come back. So that's what we want to let everyone know. He did come back for a small time, even if it was just to oversee stuff. He was, dabbing in creative once again. But now, I think with the new regime, they have given all the full reins to Triple H. And I'm not sure Vince McMahon really was prepared for all of that, but that's how it is now. And believe it or not, just the sale of it. That's where, that's what we're trying to say here. The sale. When we're at WrestleMania, and that's really news breaking right before the show happens. Totally crazy, man. And that's something that people are still talking about. And maybe it's for a positive now that Vince is in the background, but man, 40 plus years at the helm, making WWE what it is today, the clear cut number one wrestling promotion company in the world, sports entertainment. Crazy, man. Crazy to think that Vince McMahon is no longer the main focal point of that. That is nuts, man.
And that the WWE is not being run by McMahon.
Yeah, that is
That's
crazy.
the weird thing.
Nick Khan, man. Nick Khan is a killer, man. Nick Khan, he's shown that he can, and he is up for the challenge. Him and Triple H doing amazing things. Looking forward to WrestleMania. Looking forward to the Royal Rumble, man. It's going to be crazy. All right, Trendsetter, feud of the year. and a lot of good ones to discuss. But I think the one that really pulled us our emotional string definitely was the one between Dom and his dad Rey Mysterio. I think that one is the feud of the year, and I think again, while Dom did not win the heel of the year, I mean this feud had the father and son dynamic. Man, you can't get much more emotionally invested than father son. It was so well done, and of course, it had a tremendous matchup at WrestleMania. And I don't think it's over, but just that whole lead in. I mean, you can't go wrong when you do father and son, especially the Hall of Famer like Rey Mysterio, who's obviously well known in lucha libre, and his son, who's taking leaps and bounds, by far the most improved wrestler, in a long time. See where he's at now. This feud was significant, and it culminated at WrestleMania, and it was so good.
Yes, it culminated at WrestleMania, but I don't think it's over yet. I only thought we saw the first stage of this rivalry, which will end up happening between Dom and Ray. We'll see it again. I just want Ray to take off that LAW shirt. Come on, Bears. LWO, come on, man. That's not what it was supposed to be. But anyway, yeah, definitely a feud of the year. Really had everyone invested. It really sent Dom to the stratosphere of terms of where he was kind of going back and forth with people who didn't really like him, and now this turn where now it's okay to boo him, and just did wonders for Dominic Mysterio in his career. All thanks to his father. And then the match they had at WrestleMania was a very good match. A lot of people question the ending of it, but again, it just leaves the door open for the possibility that there might be down the road a retirement match for Rey Mysterio. And who best would you want to retire you than your son down the road? But again, I don't think we've seen the last of this rivalry. We saw the first stage of it at the end of WrestleMania. I think maybe in 2024 we'll see it again. So right now they're going their separate ways, and couldn't be better for both right now. Ray dealing with another injury that he's recovering from, and Dominic doing amazing things with the Judgment Day. So yeah, feud of the year, no problem.
Definitely their match was a match of the year type match. But again, there's so many matches. I can remember the first match, one of the first matches that we saw in the year was the Iron Man match between Bryan Danielson and MJF. That one really, to me, elevated MJF and showed you that he could wrestle. That was definitely one that was up there that I would have been, oh, that one's there.
Mm-hmm.
As the year went along, so many matches. Cody and Roman Reigns is one that you can talk about, whether you didn't like the ending or not. Still, that matchup still drew a lot of emotion. But to me, I think, and again, say what you want about the wrestling and the booking, right? And I get it. But you talk about hard hitting. You can either say that the WrestleMania, not the WrestleMania, that the Wrestle Kingdom matchup or the Forbidden Door matchup between Ospreay and Kenny Omega were matches of the year. Again, you can critique the wrestling, you can critique the booking and all that stuff and all the flips and flop and, the Kenny Omega and all that stuff. But that matchup between those two, and now Ospreay is going to AEW, that to me was the match of the year, the one at Forbidden Door. That was as hard hitting as you're going to see. Was it necessary? Maybe not. Did they take some risk? Yes. Do I think Kenny Omega took a lot of chances? Did it cut his career? Yes. Definitely did. Now he's dealing with diverticulitis, so we hope a speedy recovery for Kenny Omega. But that match took a lot out of him, man. And as the year progressed, you could see it in Kenny. But again, say what you want. This matchup, to me, in my opinion, is a 2023 match of the year. Any match you can talk about, the Wrestle Kingdom matchup or the Forbidden Door, but Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay were just amazing.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see Kenny another match on New Japan Pro Wrestling. To top what he had done with Okada, the first one, Okada Omega won.
Yeah.
In terms of the emotion, the hard hittiness, the psychology and the story they told in the ring, as opposed in terms of storyline based, because it was the first time Okada and Omega were facing each other. But in this scenario too, with Ospreay and Kenny, man, I dare to say that's kind of right at that level or even close to it. Might have surpassed it to a certain degree. So I would agree with you. I think this was the match of the year just because even though it started early on, he had so many things that were going to be happening after it. It still stood out on its own, regardless of storyline, regardless of the fact that Kenny now is recovering, and we wish him a speedy recovery, of course, from an illness. And Will Ospreay is now signed to the AEW. It's still there. They're 1-1 now, so it's like there's still the possibility these two could hopefully meet in the future. So for the rubber match. But in terms of had to start the year off with a bang, they did, and I felt like it continued on in terms of just the quality of that when you compare it to other things, stylistically, storyline wise. There's always gonna be debate for it, but I just felt that one was just the top of the year off, and not many were close to it, but none superseded, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Hands down, a lot of great matches. But to us, that was the one that honestly, was the winner, clear cut. All right, guys, winding it down here. Let's talk about the female wrestler of the year for 2023, the HSP podcast. I narrowed it down to two. We narrowed it down to two. One was Rhea, and one was Becky. Becky's done so much with the NXT Championship. She did so much as far as giving back, but we want to, I guess, reward dominance. And ever since WrestleMania, where Rhea Ripley had again another match of the year quality against Charlotte Flair night one, she's held that title and in dominant fashion. And not only that, but her persona, she's a baby face now, but she's playing the heel. They love her. They refuse to boo mommy and give her the progression of her character. Hands down, the 2023 female wrestler of the year is definitely mommy Rhea Ripley.
I think you just said it. I don't need to add any more to it, man. In terms of what she's accomplished, the dominance she's had, in terms of what happened with her and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, her finally getting over the hump and defeating the one person she couldn't defeat, and finally did it in such a grand stage in terms of WrestleMania, showcasing the fact that she had finally arrived. And I think at that point, that stage, that Rhea Ripley was a lot better off than the one that defeated Asuka back in I forget which WrestleMania it was, but it was one in Tampa where she defeated Asuka, and that character didn't really seem like it was still kind of kind of figured things out and trying to figure things out, and what she's had to deal with ups and downs and to finally be where she is too. Yes, dominant wise, has she been in the ring very much? Not as much as probably I would like to see her in the ring in terms of being dominant champion. But again, all the matches she's had have always been entertaining, have always showcased the fact that she is a dominant force in the women's division, why she's held on to the title for so long. But more importantly, and you said it too, her interaction or connection with the Judgment Day, her being mommy, the crowd just loving this side of her where they refuse to boo her. So as much as she tries to make you hate her, you can't help but love her as a character and what she's doing in the ring, not just in the ring, but outside the ring. And to me, that's what separates it. And again, I've always been with the mindset that in the ring tells you and dictates to you who the star is. Now it's outside the ring. It really is. If you're able to be a character to incorporate something and what you do in there is minimal, but what you do outside the ring in terms of connecting with that audience, not just the audience that loves pro wrestling, a huge audience that watches WWE and they are able to know who Rhea Ripley is. That's an amazing job, and that goes kudos not only to the company and the machine backing the individual, but it goes to the individual as well in Rhea Ripley. So congratulations to her as the 2023 female wrestler of the year.
Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Will Ospreay. When I give you these names, you obviously think of workhorses. You think of guys that are just, definitely always should be in the top running for that main wrestler of the year category. An MJF, those kind of guys, a Bryan Danielson, a Moxley. Those guys are always in that running in that category, and it's always neck and neck. And then someone will pull apart from the crowd and take that, and then all of a sudden somebody else will come back and take the reins of that one, no pun intended. But when you talk about everybody, when you talk about the Tribal Chief and his dominant reign, when you talk about Cody Rhodes, who's going to try to finish the story at Mania, when you talk about Seth Rollins and his title reign, and you talk about the Danielsons and the Moxleys and everything, and the Ospreys, one guy to me, obviously, you didn't like the outcome at World's End, him losing, and now he's going to be on a hiatus with a shoulder injury, but a guy who was a workhorse. And again, we're not talking about booking. We're not talking about, the devil. We're talking about in the ring. No one was highlighted more than this guy, and to me, the winner of the 2023 Wrestler of the Year award for in the male category, and that is MJF. He proved it, and to me, whether he stays in AEW or not, whether that big free agency of 2024, whether it really did live up to hype or not, his matches did. And what really convinced me was the Iron Man match with him and Danielson at Revolution. And ever since then, I've just been a fan of this guy. Only, 24, 25, 26? I mean, man, he's got so much ahead of him. And if he re-signed Trendsetter, I don't blame him. Because right now, that logjam up in WWE, I mean, Drew McIntyre can't even get pushed. You know what I mean? He can't even get his deserved push. Why not sign there for 3 more years? Make that your thing, and then when you're in 30s and you're more wiser. I'm not saying that he's not now, but when you have more of that, magnitude, you're gonna get that payday. I mean, even Cody says eventually he'll be in the WWE. The whole John Cena thing made you think. Even John Cena is aware of this MGF guy. Obviously, he knows he's gonna see him someday in WWE, but maybe not just yet. Putting that aside, he to me obviously proved a lot this year, and I think in 2023, and I think hopefully he comes back from injury. But you got to agree, right? 2023 was the year of MJF.
Definitely, it was the year of MJF. I mean, there are certain people, excluding the Romans, the John Cenas, the Codys, the Rocks, the Austins, all those things, right? There's certain individuals at a certain age where you're like, okay, they're figuring things out, or they still don't know who they are. Similar to what I said when I spoke about Swerve Strickland, right? And then you're like, oh, they're still young, they're gonna figure it out. This individual doesn't need to figure anything out. This person knows who he is.
No.
He not only wants to be a star, because there are many people in this industry, Jeff, that want to be stars. They want to be the head of the programs. They want to be on the face of the company, right? But very few that walk around like that. MJF walks around like that. Even when we saw him in All In, and I remember I spoke to him in private, and I said, man, that react. Even then, the crowd reaction when he made his debut, and he was a surprise entrant in All In being booked, a last minute booking against Matt Cross, I believe. And he said to me, he was like, he expected to be there. I was like, man, he just people hate him because they think he's arrogant. This guy just oozes confidence within himself. Now, granted, whether you like it or not, or some of the things he says offend you, whatever, that's just confidence breeding itself in terms of what MJF is. And to me, I haven't seen anybody. I mean, Roman has come on and off TV for a while. Cody is trying to be the face of WWE. Seth Rollins is trying to be the workhorse of the Raw brand, but nobody's more of the face of AEW. I mean, forget the stupid four pillars thing. Nobody's more of the face of AEW right now than MJF and what he's done. Before, in the beginning, when he was a heel, he didn't have to go in the ring every single time. He made it a luxury to get in there. Now that he had turned and the crowd liked him, he, I guess, saw the error of his ways. He was doing things that people wanted him to do before, but he made you wait to show you that he could do it. And obviously, that led to him having an injury. Maybe he had it prior before. But still, regardless of the fact of whether it be in the ring, on the mic, in the promos he was doing, with the talent he was working with, he still made it a priority. This was the match, and this was the guy you wanted to see. And that's why, to me, MJF is the 2023
Sometimes
man
he
of
worked.
Wrestling World.
Sometimes he would work both nights. Sometimes he would work twice, defending the Ring of Honor, those crappy titles. You know what I
He
mean?
didn't have to. He didn't
No,
have to do that. He
no.
chose to do it.
And when Adam Cole got hurt again, he was playing double duty and wrestling by himself. So obviously, MJF wins that. Congratulations to all the winners. And now the best for last, trendsetter. And what a year this was. We actually, when it bled into 2 years where he was suspended, then he was rehired, then he got his own show on Collision, and then he was fired and got into because he got into altercation at All In Wembley, the most important show for AEW ever. Gets into a fight with Jungle Boy, whatever that guy. I don't even acknowledge him. And now he finds himself, okay, where's he gonna go? He can't possibly go to WWE. No way. No, there's no way to mend the fences. It's irreparable. But if there's something in wrestling that Vince McMahon said that we should all know heading into 2024 are these three simple words: never say never. And as we close this award show and we talk about the holy bleep moment of the year, we were there, we were watching it, Chicago, Illinois, Allstate Arena, and end of the Survivor Series. Holy crap, Randy Orton comes back. That should have been enough. The little copyright logo's playing, they're fading out, and all of a sudden CM Punk's music hits, and you see hell froze over, and you saw the return of CM Punk. I still cannot believe it, but CM Punk is back in WWE, and now he will probably most likely get a chance to main event WrestleMania because there's 2 nights of WrestleMania. How shocked were you when you saw this? Did you believe it? I still am. It's still not sinking in.
I'll make it real quick here. Was I shocked? No. I was more surprised when they brought him out. Didn't think they were going to use him on that Survivor Series because Randy Orton was already going to make his return. I thought they were going to save it for a later date. I never thought he was going to sign with WWE, not because the fences are so destroyed and the bridges were so burned. Because listen, if Bret Hart can forgive Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon, hell already froze over, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
true. It's very true. Yeah.
there've been so many scenarios of this too. I mean, it's a business at the end of the day. To me, I didn't think it made business sense in terms of, yes, financially, if you brought him back, it would make amazing business in terms of finances for both CM Punk and the WWE. Just long term wise, would you want to deal with a headache in the potential what CM Punk could be down the road if you didn't really have to do it because you already had enough stars on it? Did you really need to add another one to get lost in the shuffle or possibly have a disgruntled employee because of it? But WWE made that choice in the decision. No, it didn't shock me that they went that route. It surprised me that they did it at that time. They could have saved it maybe for a Royal Rumble that was coming up. But again, that's neither here nor there. Hindsight's 2020. They did the move. Smart business sense. It makes sense for CM Punk. It makes sense for the WWE. It just works right now because hopefully, like they've said before, it'd be Triple H or CM Punk. If you're the same individual you were 10 years ago, then you're doing something wrong. Hopefully, CM Punk has learned from his mistakes. Hopefully, he doesn't feel like the pressure's all on him. He still wants the main event WrestleMania. Will that happen? We'll find out. But in the scenario, in terms of the oh my God moments you never thought was going to happen in 2023, CM Punk coming back was definitely one nobody ever thought was ever going to happen because he was so much marching the AEW colors, and then when that fell through, you're like, it's a possibility. And Triple H, give credit to him, give credit to WWE. They make smart business moves, and that was one of their best moves so far.
Yeah, give credit to Triple H, Nick Khan. They saw an opportunity to get a marquee name. He's a draw, and they got him. And the fact that that other company, that AEW, which we've complimented a lot today, look at all the awards. The fact that they got to the point where they let their top draw go to another company to go to their rival is unbelievable. Guys, is there so much to go on in 2024, whether it's the rights deal for Raw, which is coming up, whether it's Royal Rumble, which is coming up, WrestleMania, all that stuff. We just had an amazing Wrestle Kingdom, had an amazing TNA Hard to Kill. TNA is back. Glad that they're back. Great way to start things off, whether it's returns, so much going on, and we're glad you shared this time with us. 2023, nice way to look back, but now we move forward as we are into Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season, the best time of the year. And please join us, subscribe here on the Give Us a Shot Network to HSP Podcast, and of course, follow us on all our social media. We are powered by Fast Break Coffee and sponsored by 24 Media. Give us a like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, on X, on Threads, High Spot Podcast, and let us be your home for this amazing season, which is WrestleMania season. We are on the road in just a few weeks, Trendsetter. So excited. And I'll just let you wrap it up here as only you can, Trendsetter, on this amazing end of the year 2023 award show.
Yes, guys, thank you so much for listening, watching this. We appreciate it. What an amazing 2023 it was. Looking forward to 2024. The road to WrestleMania is fast approaching, ladies and gentlemen, and Jeff and I couldn't be more excited for it. You know, the road is paving its way towards Philadelphia, getting closer and closer each time, and we couldn't have done it without you guys, and we appreciate you guys and give our thanks for a great 2023. It's been up and down, but you guys, the crew, have always stayed with us. So in closing, we are the Jersey Wrecking Crew. For my tag team partner, the scoundrel Jeff Martin, I am the trendsetter Brian Breakout. Thanking you guys so much again for watching us and following us and leading to better things in 2024. Because remember, we've done this since day one. We've done this for one reason and one reason only. And we'll continually do it for one reason only. We do it for you,
The crew. Happy New Year, everybody.